Something just happened in the world of Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, and fans are still talking about it. After nearly 3 decades together as one of Hollywood's most beloved couples, this pair, the ones who turn morning television into appointment viewing, have finally broken their silence on a major life change that has been quietly building for years. And when they opened up about it, nobody quite expected it to hit the way that it did. Stay right here, because this story is more emotional, more layered, and more surprising than you'd think. Kelly Ripa, Mark Consuelos, two names that have been synonymous with charm, chemistry, and staying power in an industry that chews people up and spits them out. For over 25 years, this couple has done something almost impossible. They've kept their love real, their family tight, and their careers thriving, often at the same time, often in the same room. You know them as the co-hosts of Live with Kelly and Mark, the morning talk show that millions of Americans wake up to every single day. Their banter is infectious. Their love story is the kind Hollywood writes scripts about. And their family, 3 kids, one very full house, has been at the center of nearly every conversation they've had on air. But lately, things are shifting. Big things. The kind of things that don't just affect a TV show, they affect an entire era of family life. And Kelly and Mark? They've been talking about it out loud. Openly. Honestly. And sometimes with a few tears they're trying to hold back. To understand why this moment matters so much, you have to understand who Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos actually are, not just as TV personalities, but as people. Kelly joined Live back in 2001, stepping in as co-host alongside the legendary Regis Philbin. She was fresh-faced, funny, and fearless. And over the years, she didn't just survive the morning talk show grind. She became the heartbeat of it. Mark Consuelos, meanwhile, built his own career as an actor, best known for his long-running role on All My Children, which is ironically where he first met Kelly. They fell in love on set, eloped in 1996, and the rest, as they say, is history. But here's what makes their story genuinely unique. They never stopped growing together. They had 3 children, Michael, now 29, Lola, now 24, and their youngest, Joaquin, now 23. They built a real life, not just a Hollywood one. And when Ryan Seacrest stepped away from Live in 2023, it was Mark who took his seat beside Kelly, officially bringing their partnership onto daytime television for the world to see. Fans loved it immediately. Viewers called it refreshingly real. Because when you watch Kelly and Mark together on screen, you're not watching a performance. You're watching a marriage. And there's a difference. But that wasn't the end of the story. Because while audiences were tuning in every morning to watch their favorite couple laugh and banter and interview celebrities, something much bigger was quietly unfolding off camera. Their kids were growing up, and one by one they were leaving. It came to a head when their youngest son, Joaquin, graduated from the University of Michigan School of Music, Theater, and Dance in May 2025. The whole family flew to Michigan to cheer him on. Kelly, Mark, older brother Michael, and sister Lola, all there to celebrate the end of an era. And on Live with Kelly and Mark, Kelly didn't hold back. This one hit differently, she told viewers, because it's our last kid to graduate. Let that sink in for a second. Their last kid, the baby of the family, out in the world, done with college, and now living his own life. And what a life he's starting to live. In April 2026, Joaquin made his Broadway debut, playing the young Biff Loman in a revival of Arthur Miller's iconic Death of a Salesman. And if that wasn't surreal enough, at the exact same time, his father Mark was making his Broadway debut just blocks away, starring in a revival of Fallen Angels. A father and son, both on Broadway, at the same time, for the very first time. When they sat down with the New York Times to talk about the experience, the emotion was palpable. Joaquin said, "It's definitely a father-son experience. It's something we both wanted to do." And in one of the most quietly heartbreaking lines of the entire interview, Joaquin admitted something deeply human. "I really enjoyed this and I'm already mourning it." He was still in the show and he was already grieving its end. Fans couldn't stop talking about it. When word spread that Mark and Joaquin were sharing this Broadway chapter simultaneously, a father on one stage, a son on another, both making their debuts, the reaction online was immediate. Social media lit up. Entertainment outlets picked up the story. And viewers of Live with Kelly and Mark flooded the comments with messages of love and admiration. "This family is everything," one fan wrote. "Mark and Joaquin on Broadway at the same time. This is the most wholesome thing I've seen all year," wrote another. And Kelly? She showed up on opening nights beaming. The proud wife, the proud mother, the woman who has stood at the center of this family's universe for nearly 3 decades, watching the people she loves most step into their own spotlight. Even on Live, the mood shifted. Conversations between Kelly and Mark became more reflective, more tender, because they weren't just talking about celebrity news anymore. They were talking about life. Their life. The one they built together, slowly and deliberately, brick by brick. And then something surprising happened. The empty nest wasn't just a milestone. For Kelly and Mark, it was a reckoning. Think about it. Kelly has said publicly that her kids practically grew up inside the walls of Live. From the time they were babies, they'd come backstage. They'd sit in the green room. They'd wander the halls of that iconic studio on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. That studio, the one that Liv called home for 37 years, was as much a family space as it was a professional one. And in April 2025, Live with Kelly and Mark aired its final episode from that legendary studio. When asked about it, Mark told people, "Our kids grew up here. They'd come visit mom here a lot. They were always backstage, even when they were babies." Kelly added, "They came to work with me every day until they went to school. They would go to all my children with me. They would come here with me. We meant it when we say they grew up in this building, in these 4 walls." 2 major endings colliding at once. The studio that raised their family, and the season of life where all 3 of their children are now fully out in the world. Kelly and Mark didn't collapse under the weight of it, but they didn't pretend it didn't sting either. And that honesty, that willingness to sit with the bittersweet, is exactly why millions of people feel so deeply connected to them. On a recent episode of Live, when the topic of Joaquin's future living arrangements came up, Kelly revealed that her son had been blunt about his plans. After 4 years of college independence, Joaquin had made it clear he needed his own space. And Kelly laughed as she said it, but there was something real underneath that laugh. Mark quipped that he liked the fact that Joaquin was thinking about living somewhere other than their house. But even he knew this was it. The last chapter of a very specific kind of parenthood. What's remarkable is how all of this has actually enriched the show. Because when Kelly and Mark talk about their kids leaving the nest, about Joaquin's Broadway debut, about the bittersweet beauty of watching your children grow into adults, it doesn't feel like a TV segment. It feels like a conversation you'd have with your own family at the dinner table. That authenticity is the secret ingredient behind Live with Kelly and Mark's continued success in an era where traditional daytime television has struggled to hold on to audiences. The show also underwent its own evolution, moving to a brand new studio, introducing fresher segments and more intimate storytelling moments, and doubling down on what viewers actually come for: the real, unscripted, sometimes messy humanity of 2 people who genuinely love each other, sharing that love with the world every morning. And Joaquin? He's just getting started. His Broadway debut has already sparked conversations about his future in theater and television. A pilot he filmed, the young adult drama Foster Dade, is still being shopped around to networks. His path is wide open. The Consuelos family, it turns out, isn't shrinking as the kids leave. It's expanding into new stages, new cities, new chapters. And through all of it, Kelly and Mark remain the constant, the anchor, the couple that somehow figured out the secret to doing life together without losing themselves in the process. There's something genuinely moving about what Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos are going through right now, and about the fact that they're sharing it so openly. In a world where celebrity couples craft carefully managed images and say exactly the right thing at exactly the right time, Kelly and Mark have always done something different. They've let the messiness in, the humor, the fatigue, the pride, the grief of endings, and the excitement of what comes next. Watching Kelly talk about her son graduating, her last kid, with that mix of joy and wistfulness is something every parent, every family member, every person who has ever had to let something beautiful go can understand. They've built something extraordinary, and now they're watching it bloom in ways they never fully anticipated. A son on Broadway, a husband on stage for the first time, a studio full of 37 years of memories, and a new chapter stretching out ahead of them, wide open, full of possibility, and entirely theirs to write. That's the Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos story. And honestly, it's just getting better. So I want to hear from you. Are you a longtime fan of Kelly and Mark? What do you think about this new chapter they're stepping into? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this celebrity update, subscribe for more entertainment news and Hollywood stories. We've got a lot more coming, and you won't want to miss it.